guys, it's Cindy Leach, your Polymer Clay Tutor. In today's PCT Mini Toot, I'm going to show you how to make polymer clay crayon beads. Now, I've been making these kind of beads using crayons for a long time, but recently somebody found an old post from our blog and pinned it on Pinterest, and it's been going crazy. So Doug said, why don't you do a new video? And I said, okay. So that's what we're doing. Now, all you need is some polymer clay, and I'm using Premo White Translucent. You could use, well, the translucents really are the best to use for this situation, but you could use the other ones. It would just have a little bit different look. And then you need some crayons. Now I have a big bag of broken crayons, and you know, when you have kids, you have stuff and crayons. And my mom, I think my mom contributed to this. She's an elementary school teacher. I don't think my kids have broken this many crayons, because when I looked at Willow's box of crayons, they were all perfect. So I'm thinking that bag, I can't remember where it came from, but I think it came from some other kids as well as mine. So anyways, all you need is some crayons. Now here are some beads that I've made using crayons. These were with some sort of no-name brand crayons that didn't have a lot of pigment in them. And I'm going to show you a different beads made with using like a good brand like Crayola. Crayola has more pigment in the wax than some of the other brands do. So if you really want a big punch of color, you're going to want to use one of the better crayons like Crayola. And I have a bead out of the oven. I want to show it to you now because I think it's still warm. Here's one done with some Crayola crayons, and it's a little bit melty on the bottom. Oh, it's starting to dry now. It's cooled off a bit. But the crayon had melted underneath and was going to catch it when it was still warm and wipe it off. But here you can see, I think what I'll do is just warm that up with the heat gun and then wipe off the melted crayon. But on this side, what you can see is the, I used some fairly large chunks of the crayon in here, and it gave an overall look, but then it also gave kind of a pitted look where the crayon has melted out and dripped down, obviously, to the back side. And then you get this almost like the old candles with the wax in it, you know, or no, candles with wax. Of course the candles have wax. I mean the ones where you put the ice cubes in it and then the ice cubes melt away and you get that sort of holy candle thing going on. I don't know if you were around in the 70s, you would know what I was talking about. Anyways, I'll show you how to make them. What you do is you take some translucent clay and warm it up. I was kneading this up a little while ago. Then you take some crayon. I've got some chopped up here already. You can either use like an old grater and then just grate it up like this. Or you can just use your clay blade or a razor blade or something and just take off chunks of the crayon. And I'm just taking some white, some, I don't know what color they call it. That is called blue-green. That dark one was called blue-green, and then this one's called sea green. And I'm just taking chunks of it off. And the larger the chunks are, the more of that ice melted effect you get. And the smaller the chunks are, the more it tints the clay. You could use one color, you could use 20 colors. You would have more of a confetti look if you used lots of colors. Some colors will melt really well, some won't. So you get some clay or some crayon chopped up and you just mix it in. It's pretty simple. You can put lots in or just a little bit. You can have some on the outside of your bead if you want. You can work it all in. I wouldn't run this through your pasta machine because those chunks are going to be hard on the rollers, and you don't want extra chunks of stuff getting caught in the scrapers and things like that. But that's all you have to do. Then you would shape it into, mix it up properly. So I would either use my Never Need, which I have right there, Or because this is quite warm already, I can just do this in my hands. Because most of you won't have the never need quite yet. All right, so can you see that? It's mixed in through. You can mix it in really well or not, and then you just break off a chunk and then make it into whatever shaped bead that you want. Now, when you bake it, you're going to want to, if you're making a bead, you're going to want to put some paper underneath in your bead rack because some of it could drip out as it melts, the wax. So I'm just going to do this really quick. And I would try to avoid getting fingerprints all over my bead, but I don't have a lot of time right here. But you would just, get it through the right hole. Okay, then you would just set it on the bead rack and let it drip through. As you can see, this is using exactly the same colors as I did for this one here. And you can see it does change quite a bit. It does tint the translucent clay. The translucent isn't terribly translucent because there is the wax crayons are opaque. And, but you get this really cool, almost stone-like effect. You could also mix in some other things as well, if you like. But the crayon beads are a great way to use up your old crayons, the broken ones, or, you know, a new set if you want. You could empty out your crayon sharpener too if you wanted, use up all those little bits. And you can bake up some really great looking faux stone type beads with using crayons. I hope you liked that. If you did, do let us know. And if you have suggestions or ideas, things you might have seen on Pinterest or other places that you would like me to try out, then do let me know that in the comment section below. And don't forget, we have a great resource over at polymerclaytutor.com where you can find all the answers to your polymer clay questions. We'll see you next time, and bye for now.